Thank everyone for being here. 80 hours ago, the Salgado family, life will never be the same. At no fault of theirs, Mr. Salgado was chased by an unmarked vehicles before he could identify himself and speak as a Houstonian. He was shot and killed. I've met with his family today and expressed the entire city's condolences and anger, and assured him that I and the levels of government represented here today and the DA's office would do everything, use all of our resources and our waking hours to pursue an independent and transparent investigation. I was chairman of criminal justice in Austin for 30 years, involved in many investigations and oversight reviews of police action. In those 30 years, which included the tragedy of Sandra Bland, Joe Campos Torres, and I could list many more, none are more egregious than the one that ICE brought to Houston Tuesday morning, some 80 hours ago. We learned about it through the media. Keeping my commitment and our policy, we do not interact with ICE. There was no whatsoever involvement by the HPD. I got a call shortly after the 911 call went in. We've done everything possible to gather information, and I applaud the district attorney. We have been in constant communication in furnishing him what information we had. We've been involved and contacted our federal officials because when we learned about it, the FBI had arrived and secured the site. The FBI has all the evidence that would normally go in to an HPD or other law enforcement agency's investigation. They have the evidence, in this instance, the van, the passengers, the deceased, and they're tightly controlling it. We've reached out to them and asked them, share that information with HPD. And shortly I will ask the chief to speak to that effort. But before I go any further, I would ask Houstonians to put yourself in the place of, from every indication, an outstanding, law-abiding, hard-working family. Put yourself how shocked you would be, and the family is in shock, that you're living your dream 3 sons, college graduates. Mother fixes breakfast. Father goes to work. Taken away from you without any notice or any forethought that you were actually endangered. I speak for Houstonians. Should not happen anywhere. And Lord, we've done everything we can to keep ICE from endangering Houston residents. And so, Houstonians, this is when Houston is at its best, that we can bring unity, inclusion, regardless of your party label, regardless of your philosophy about immigration. It doesn't matter. This is when we come together. And that's my responsibility. Wednesday in council, I called for an independent and thorough investigation, spoke to the district attorney. We both acknowledged how difficult it would be because the federal government controlled the investigation. But today, meeting with my colleagues from the legislature, from Congress, my mayor pro tem, we are publicly stating we are doing and will not rest until we have an independent, thorough investigation. I've asked the chief to be proactive. He's asked and been granted a meeting with the FBI Bureau Chief of Houston next Tuesday. He's asked the chief of the FBI, Houston Bureau, to start sharing information, which we will certainly forward to the district attorney's office. We've reached out to the Texas Rangers, the DPS, and I welcome any other suggestion. We want Houstonians to be involved, and we want Houstonians, when they go to church Sunday, to speak up that this is unacceptable anywhere in the U.S. And we've been responsible. We've kept this community united. But our community, not just the Hispanic community, this is a Houston issue. The pain is real across Houston. Immigrants make this Houston a great city. I know who are the family nannies, our workers, our academic community, our faith-based community. We are recognized for our diversity and how we welcome immigrants. I spend so much of my time across this great city in our diversified communities. Everyone is hurting today and want more information. Thank you to my legislative colleagues, City Council. We spoke out Wednesday. I spoke for some length with Ronaldo, the son, such a brave individual, and assured him that the city is behind the family and will share any and all information we get. Assured him, don't worry about the expense. We're working with all the stakeholders. I want to particularly thank Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia. She and I met early this morning. We've been in constant touch. We recognize that it is a federal police agency that was out of control Tuesday morning. You don't do what ICE did Tuesday morning. Unmarked vehicle, a chase. And I will repeat again, HPD was following policy. We do not interact. It had been 2 days before ICE was in a chase across Houston. No HPD involvement. We enforce state and city ordinances, and that will continue. But we're going to do everything we can and have been doing to gather the information and have a local independent investigation. Our hands have been tied, but I've instructed the chief, city attorney to untie those hands. Continue to work with Washington, Austin, Harris County. It's a very, very painful time for Houstonians, but I'm also have great gratitude for the coming together of Houstonians. I hear it. I was at Dr. Sloan's funeral at Houston Christian College this morning. It is on everyone's mind. It is not a Hispanic community pain. It's a Houstonian pain. And I submit across the state of Texas and the United States. Congresswoman, thank you for excellent passion for the challenge before us.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to all my colleagues from all levels of government that are here with us. Because quite frankly, it's as the Mayor said, today Houston is one, and we all feel the pain. We all are grieving with this family. And no matter what we say, we must remember, and Mayor, I would add, for those that are going to church on Sunday, to really focus on this and to pray for this family. Pray for this family. Because Lorenzo Salgado was a father, he was a husband, a neighbor, a small business owner, a Houston resident mayor for 35 years with absolutely no criminal history. I'm going to repeat that. No criminal history. His family is in grief. As the mayor stated, we visited with them at the site and might visit later with them in their home. They need some time. I'm asking the press to give them some space. And I know I had some questions at an earlier press conference about funeral stuff. I am not going to answer any of those questions. I am here to ask you to please respect the family's privacy as they go through this. And I want to tell you that I did have, and many of you were there this morning, a conversation with the acting director of ICE. He has assured me that Mr. Salgado was not a target. He was not a target. So we have to ask ourselves, then why did he end up being killed by ICE? Those are a lot of questions, and all of you all have so many questions. But day by day, more facts are being revealed. I will also just tell you two other things from my conversation, because I went through all of them this morning, but the two key ones are this. There was no body camera video. There was no dashboard video. There was no markings on the car. There was no siren, no lights, no cherry top. So again, as the mayor said, put yourself in their shoes. What would you have done if a black SUV-looking vehicle just started chasing you? And for women out there, it would have been even worse for us. So let's not jump to conclusions. I'm happy to hear that the mayor is fully supporting our request for a full independent investigation. All our members of Congress, the Democrats here locally, Menifee, Al Green, and Lizzie Fletcher and I sent a letter to the Department of Homeland Security and to the ICE director demanding a full independent top-to-bottom investigation. Regrettably, in my conversation with him yesterday, he would not commit to that. He would not commit to that. We sent him a series of questions to try to get to some facts. He would not, he advised me, quite frankly, that he doesn't plan to answer my questions. So my fight will now go to Congress. I go back to Washington on Monday, and we will have several committees looking at this, and we're going to try to find a way, not only in the House, but I've been already, my team has been in communication with the ranking member of Judiciary Committee in the Senate. This will be a priority for many of us, because as the mayor said, it can happen to any of us. ICE is out of control. We need to make sure that we put a stop to this. We have been doing it already by not voting against funding, but apparently it's not making a change. We need real change. The only other thing that I can share with you that he did commit to, I was very concerned about family members telling me that the 3 people that are detained at Conroe were being pressured by ICE to submit voluntary statements and to sign a voluntary deportation form. And we were real concerned about that because we want to make sure that we talk to them. They're the only witnesses. The lawyer was at the earlier press conference this morning. He has been in communication with them. He does have some statements from them. And 2 things came out of that. Number one, all 3 independently, I might add, say that an agent was never in front of the van. Common sense. You don't even need to go to the police academy to figure that one out. If there's no agent in front of a car, then how could you run over a car? But that's one of the allegations. And the second thing that he said was that all of them talked about, the shooting itself not happening through the car. I mean, the good case, you remember, they shot through the windshield, that they think he was shot after he got out of the car, which begs the question, why did that happen? So the lawyer will be there tomorrow again to go visit with his clients. I'm not at liberty to say much more about that, but I can assure you that we're all working together, because for me as a member of Congress, when I see what happened in Minneapolis, same storybook. We were acted in self-defense because she tried to run over the officer. Remember all that? Mm-hmm. Then the videos and all the community input demonstrated that that was just false. We're calling on anybody who was anywhere near the site that has video, picture, testimony, or you heard it from your neighbor. Do not assume it's not important. Let the DA's office know. Share your videos with the DA's office, because the smallest thing could be the big break. So please know that all of us are working together to make sure that Houston is safe. And now we'll all have to work together to get this family through this grieving period. And again, I would ask for y'all to honor the request for privacy, especially this next 2 weeks while they go through the process of making their arrangements. Thank you, and I yield now to the police chief, I believe.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you to our media partners for always engaging and coming to these events. It's important for us as a police agency to make sure that we're providing the right information into the community. So I'm going to read a brief remark, and then I'll turn it over to the mayor. Let me start by saying that I understand many in our community are hurting. We hear your concerns, we feel your pain, and we understand your calls for transparency throughout the investigative process. As HPD has stated, this is not an incident we are involved in, nor do we have jurisdiction to investigate it. This is a federal matter with the DHS Office of Inspector General leading the shooting investigation. Earlier today, I sent a letter to DHS Inspector General and the FBI Special Agent in charge of the Houston office to let them know that HPD stands ready to support their teams in any way that we can. However, as the mayor has stated on multiple occasions, we do not have jurisdiction or access to the evidence necessary to conduct a thorough and independent investigation. We amplify the mayor's request for an investigation to be conducted in a timely, transparent, and thorough manner. As the mayor said, I've communicated with Jason Hudson, who's the new SAC here at the FBI, and he has agreed to allow us to meet with him on Tuesday to discuss a path forward with respect to the evidence that they have in their custody. We don't have any of the investigative information on scene. Mayor, you want me to repeat this in Spanish for our Spanish-speaking audience?
Sure.
Sure, okay. Buenas tardes. Déjame comenzar diciendo que entiendo que muchas personas en nuestra comunidad de Houston están sufriendo. Escuchamos, sentimos su dolor y entendemos las llamadas a la transparencia durante todo el proceso de investigación. Como ha declarado el Departamento de Policía de Houston, este no es un incidente en el que estamos involucrados ni tenemos acceso a las informaciones que se requieren para compartir una investigación. Es un asunto federal y la Oficina del Inspector General del Departamento de Seguridad Nacional, en la DHS, está a cargo de la investigación del tiroteo. Hoy, más temprano, envié una carta al Inspector General de la DHS y el agente especial a cargo del FBI para hacerles saber que el Departamento de Policía de Houston está listo para apoyar a sus equipos a cualquier manera que podamos. Sin embargo, como el alcalde John Whitmire declaró, en múltiples ocasiones no tenemos jurisdicción ni acceso a las pruebas necesarias para llevar a cabo una investigación independiente. Repetimos la solicitud del alcalde de que la investigación sea llevada a cabo en un plazo razonable, de manera transparente y completa, es lo que se espera de esta comunidad, nada más ni nada menos. Gracias por el comentario, Mayor.
Thank you. Any questions? And let me acknowledge Joaquin Martinez, a council member that represents the district of the tragedy and has worked closely with the family. Ana Hernandez, local state rep, Amanda Wally, Marianne Perez, Mayor Pro Tem, Cass Tatum. Any questions of any of us?
Mayor, Chief, you said HPD doesn't have jurisdiction. I've spoken with professors at UT Law Center, South Texas College of Law, who say that's just not true. Is the city attorney giving you different advice? Where are you getting this idea that you don't have jurisdiction to investigate?
Because we don't. And in fact, Sean Tier acknowledged that in our first conversation. But like him, we're being proactive. We're reaching out, gathering information. So I think you're playing semantics.
Yep.
Of course, we have authority to collect information and share what we find. And we've done that, and we're going to continue. So I think, like Sean mentioned, the DA, he doesn't have the authority to take a federal offense to a state grand jury. So what we have to do is be proactive, as the chief has done, ask to meet with the FBI, and urge them to share with us their collection of evidence. They control the scene, the deceased, the van, the witnesses. So yes, they control the investigation, but through our efforts, working with our congressional leaders, we're trying to access that, which would allow us to investigate, which would be a proactive local investigation.
Are you trying to collect any of your own evidence?
Beg your pardon?
Chief, are you trying to collect any of your own evidence?
Forward him the tapes that you've already sent.
Sure. We have communicated in every aspect with the district attorney's office. Anything that we have, we've already shared. with the District Attorney's Office as well as the Bureau of Investigation here in Houston. So I'd ask the community, if you have information, a tidbit of information, a cell phone video that someone has not accessed yet, please contact the FBI Houston or the Houston Police Department at 1-800-CALL-FBI. I encourage the public to be proactive with this so that we, as a police organization for the greatest city in the country, can move forward and help this family heal in this process, right? We don't conduct our business like that in this police department, and I want to make sure that the community knows that where there's support, we were at the vigil, and we'll continue to do that. So as the great Congresswoman said, please respect the family, because the family's already reached out to us that there's a little bit too much in front of their homes. They want to go about their lives and grieve in private, and should they need anything, they have a representative. They've got their council member, Joaquin Martinez, in the area that they can reach out to communicate anything that they need from us. So we're trying our very best in a very difficult.
Yeah, Chief, the question was, are officers going out?
They are not.
They're
That's
not trying to get their own.
They're not trying to, we have information that we have
DA
already.
investigators
Oh, the
are.
DA investigators are, and we're collaborating where we can get information with the district attorney's office.
Was there a delayed medical response?
That's a question for the Houston Fire Department. I don't think so. I think it's within the normal range. I don't know who called. I've not listened to the 911 calls yet.
So, Mayor, will that be investigated as part of the local?
Yes, yes, the time frame is being obviously preserved as part of the evidence. I've had access to it. The chief, fire chief, very involved, called me an hour ago about some ICE activity involving a fire station in terms of checking the vital signs of one of their confinees. So we're monitoring this by the minute, by the hour, and we will share everything we know with the public.
And DHS says that this all happened because a local entity gave them a credible tip about the vehicle and the men in the vehicle. Do we know which agency that was, and is that being investigated?
I will yield to our congressman who actually spoke to them.
That is not the story that the ICE director told me when I had my conversation with him. He said that they were acting on a final removal order on one of the passengers that they believe was in the van. Now, that story has been reported. I've not had an opportunity to confirm it, but I'm not hearing it anywhere else except that news report. And Chief, I don't know if you've heard.
I can tell you that we've not heard that information from anyone. I can tell you that no one at the Houston Police Department provided information in any capacity.
But that is certainly something that I will be asking, and I certainly will be following up on a number of other things, especially the timeline that your previous question, because I too am concerned about the timeline of how long it took to transport to Ben Taub, how long it took to transport to the ME's office, because I know they did not positively identify him until yesterday morning. But yet, of course, as I've told you all, that's probably one of the most horrific things, you all. The press and social media were given the name of Mr. Salgado before they told the family anything. Think about what you all would do if you had to learn about your dad being dead when nobody's told you a damn thing. I mean, it's just, I've asked for an apology from the ICE director. He would not agree to that. But he did say that if their review found that they did something in error, that he would apologize to the family in the future. So to me, that's just, the heart of all this is the lack of protocol and human decency when it comes to visiting with the family and keeping the family informed. And I intend to pursue that to the fullest that I can.
Chief, can you answer into the mic with 100% certainty? Can you confirm that HPD had no involvement when it comes to a tip? The question she asked, can you answer?
Sure, I can answer with 100% surety that we did not provide a tip. In fact, that vehicle has not been on any investigative process for us until the day of, because we did our normal operations at the scene, right? So, yeah, 100%. Go.
So, Mayor, will that be investigated if one of the precincts or constable's office or,
I can answer that, Mayor.
Go ahead. I'm certain that's part
That'll
of
be
the
part of the investigation. Everything, anytime you access a police database, you leave a footprint.
Okay, so
There's no
DHS
computers.
is saying that they had a credible tip.
That'll be investigated by their Department of Homeland, their OIG department. And because there's someone, whoever did that, there's always a footprint of it. It doesn't just magically appear. It actually has information in databases that are protected by CJIS compliance stuff.
As you've mentioned, you don't have any, like.
Yeah, sorry, I'm sorry. Yes, sir. I heard your voice up
But,
there.
as you mentioned, you don't have any, like, control over the evidence or any of that kind of stuff. Do you guys have any contingency plans to kind of avoid this in the future where you might be able to, like, step in? And then secondly, it seems like on Tuesday, it seemed like there was not gonna be a full independent investigation. Sort of, what changed from then to like now?
Faxes.
Well, the facts have changed, right? So now we hear, because of the congressman's great work, that the wrong person was in the van. Or perhaps it was the wrong van. So those are concerning, and they should be concerning to everybody in the community. Everybody that's a Texan, everybody that's a Houston, everybody that lives in the U.S. Those facts weren't available then. So as we move forward, we will continue to listen to the community to ensure that this is getting the adequate attention, to ensure that the community knows and community trusts that someone is looking at this with every single eye available, in partnership with the Bureau. I'm meeting with SAC Hudson on Tuesday to go over whatever evidence they have. I don't know what evidence that he has. And the word for me is trying. We're going to get behind this, get behind the community, get behind the Salgado community, the Salgado family, excuse me, to make sure that they know that this office is going to expend every effort to make sure that this is, whatever it is, brought to light. We're communicating with the DA from the very beginning. I actually spoke to the Congresswoman a couple of hours after the event. So this isn't just, the communication always exists because it's important that we get the right information to the community to avoid any misinformation in the community.
Mayor or Chief, what about unrest in the city? I mean, people are starting to feel like ICE has lied, and there are protests going on, and people are speaking out on social media.
So we welcome the protest. We welcome people to come and protest and exercise their First Amendment right. Right? It has been 80 hours, as the mayor said, that this happened. No investigation in the country is going to be completed in 80 hours. Let these processes go forward. We welcome them. We share in their angst and in their pain. We are on the street with them. This is a community engaged police department in every aspect. I don't care if you're in Second Ward or in Acres Home, we are focused on serving and providing exceptional police services. So this is something that it's alarming to us. I mean, truly it shocks the conscience, right? No one should be followed in an unmarked car in any capacity with no lights and no sirens. I mean, this is the city of Houston. So I want to thank the mayor for the leadership because it's been, I think the mayor's, you got about 2 hours of sleep. I've had about 3, right? So this is something that'll go on through the weekend to make sure that we are doing everything that we can as an organization to provide you the right information, the right resources, to make sure that we stand up the DA's office, to make sure whatever they need, that we have the ability to share information with Sean.
Following up on that question, Chief.
What the chief's saying, you can get back to him, what the chief is saying is we're not being restricted by our jurisdiction, okay? It's clear that it was a federal act, a federal investigation. But based on our determination, we've gone outside that jurisdiction. We're not settling to wait for an FBI report. For all we know, could take a year. We want answers. The chief has reached out to the bureau chief. We'll meet Tuesday. He will brief me. I will brief you. The family will be the first to know the credible information. We're in contact with the family. I met with them today. So even though there are legal restrictions, we're being proactive. And we will furnish, when appropriate, the 911 call. You need to hear it. I question the delay. I would hope, but I'm afraid I know the answer, that ICE carries techniques and equipment to stop bleeding. But we also know this is the same agency that didn't have body cameras. I was in the legislature when we passed legislation to require body cameras. There was some resistance. Most police officers will tell you today it's their best friend. It documents their training that they carried out, their transparency. So I'm certain one of the discussions will be in Congress, why not body cameras? And it should not be a fiscal matter. We ought to be able to see in real replay accurate information. That was the instance in other communities, largely gathered by the public. As everyone that's spoken has said, if the public has any documentation of the circumstances, we'd love to see them. Someone had a question, yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I just wanted to follow up on what she mentioned, the unrest, right? So we've been on the scene and we've seen all the colors, and some people are saying that they're not trusting authorities, so they're willing to take up arms to defend
Well,
themselves.
first of all, let me interrupt. I think that's irresponsible talk. The march the other day was peaceful. We protected the community with HPD. You know, there are people on both sides that would like to disrupt our community. There are people that travel the country to disrupt communities. I'm not minimizing the passion of the community. It's real. But to sit here and talk about hypotheticals about unrest is irresponsible. We've experienced tragedies in Houston. We come together, certainly during the civil rights protests, and I could start naming faith-based Reverend Lawson and others. And we're going to use the same resources today. We're all hands on deck, and we're not going to allow this to create disruptions that some would like.
Congresswoman, do you think that they had the wrong van?
I really cannot answer that because I don't know enough about this alleged tip. All I know today is that the van has been seized. It's in the custody of the FBI. Remember, I said that this morning. The way ICE operates is they want to control the operation, they want to control the scene, and they want to control the negative. You know, they basically ICE out everybody else. So it's been difficult, even for me, to be able to get information because at this point, even the FBI locally has told me that I have to go through Department of Homeland Security, D.C. I will be in D.C. I'm still trying to get a phone call with the secretary himself. That's why I started with the ICE director, because he did finally call me back. It's not easy, y'all. Remember, these are not normal times. You have a White House who has his own assigned mandate of this mass deportation program that he seems to be so fixated on. And it's hard to work through a process where he controls the acting attorney general, a former friend of his. The ICE director is a former CEO officer. And CEO, for those of you who don't know, is the corporation that owns a lot of the detention centers. So it's hard. It's not like the old days where I could pick up the phone, call the Justice Department, Civil Rights Division, and someone would be here the next day helping us. So please, you need to, sir, excuse me, I'm not done. We have to face reality. I am doing everything humanly possible to get to the bottom of this, and I will not stop till I get a full independent investigation. Y'all remember me when we went through some of this with the Vanessa Guillen killing in Fort Hood. I didn't stop. I do not plan to stop now. We will get something done. We're Houston. We always come together as a family, and we stay strong, and we're not going to let somebody bully us around.
Mayor, have you been in
Thank
touch
y'all.
with anyone from Minnesota? Has the mayor from Minnesota?
No. I'm focused totally on Houston.
And Mayor,
Have
what
you
And I have
been
a full
in
pack.
fear of
That's what the
ICE?
chief said.
Does this incident underscore lack of training for these citations?
I think you could conclude that.
Yeah,
Mayor, are you
that's
prepared
true.
to take the federal
Okay.
government to court to access
Thank
evidence?
thank
as
y'all.
authorities
Let's
in
go to
Minnesota
work.
have?
I got to go to work.